We only need one for a quorum.
We just need one for a quorum.
Okay,
We got it. We got it.
Got it?
Yes. We can vote.
Adam, you're all we needed for a quorum.
I'm staff.
All right.
Hey, how you doing? We finally got through it last night.
Steve was saying, it took a little while, but.
All right. We are official. We have a quorum today. Thank you, everybody, for being here today. New location. I think GNRC, y'all have been here for some months here, but we have, I've never got to come. So happy to be here. So a little bit of a different day today. Sean is out. He's with TDOT. I think they've got their NPO training.
This meeting without me?
What? Oh.
I mean, really, come on. I think that's the first time ever in 21 years that you started a meeting without me.
I gotta go out with a bang, Miss Lou.
Just for that, Andy, you're fired.
That's it. We're out of here. I take my ball and go home. Anyway, thank you everybody for being here. We'll get more to my last day later, but I'll officially get fired. We do have a quorum here today, so thank you everybody for being here. We still do have the hybrid option. We've got everything where people can participate online. And so for our online participants, we do have the chat, so please communicate in the chat. And just know that not everybody may be picked up, but due to the room acoustics, but maybe this room is better. Staff will attempt to answer those questions in the chat, but we do have an action item here for us today. First item is the approval of the March meeting minutes. Do I have a motion?
So move.
We have a motion and a second. Items on the floor. Any comments, questions, discussions? Okay, seeing none. I have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye. Any opposed? That motion passes. Okay, next we'll go to item number 2 on our agenda. That is the public comment portion of our agenda. I'll open the floor to anybody who wishes to make a comment to TCC. Please note also the comments may be emailed to gnrc.org. Comments at gnrc.org. Any comments? I have a podium. I don't see anybody. Okay, so we now can close our public comment portion time of our agenda today. Next, we'll move into our action items. We do have 2 action items today. First, for the first one, I'd like to introduce Anna Emerson, our GNRC principal planner.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I will present to you today the 3rd cycle of amendments that we've looked at together in fiscal year 2023. These are amendments for the still upcoming 2023 to 2026 TIP. Just an update about what's going on over at TDOT with their state transportation improvement program, which our TIP is included in by reference. FHWA had some revisions that they asked the state to tackle before they would approve the STIP. So we are actually still awaiting STIP approval and thus also still awaiting activation of our new fiscal year 2023 to 2026 TIP. However, we are going to continue to make these amendments on that new TIP and then submit those for approval through FHWA once that occurs. So again, 6 amendments for your consideration today. All these amendments together are adding nearly 13.6 million federal dollars to the TIP. So we'll go ahead and start looking at those now. Our first request is from the city of Gallatin. It's for their Vol State Gap Trail Phase 2B project. Gallatin had received a partial award from the TDOT Transportation Alternatives Program Office about a year ago, and the state has come back and provided the remaining funding for this project. So Gallatin is requesting that it be added to the TIP with both local funds and TAP funds. Following that is a request from Mount Pleasant for their Mount Pleasant Downtown Revitalization Phase 2 project. This is a similar situation to the Gallatin Award. Mount Pleasant has received additional funding from the TDOT TAP office for a project that they were looking to get fully funded. So they're requesting to add this project to the TIP with local and TAP funding. Following that is a request from RTA for their WeGo Star miscellaneous support equipment and passenger amenities project. They are requesting to shift some funds from other projects, both Formula 5307 funds and 5337 State of Good Repair funds, shifted from another project to add to this project for needs related to miscellaneous support equipment and passenger amenities. Following that is another request from Nashville MTA, or from, not another from MTA, but for MTA rather. This is for their North Nashville Transit Center project. They're requesting to add 5307 funds to this project so that they can continue activities under this effort. And then after that is a request for the Regional Job Access and Reverse Commute Program. This is a grant program that MTA and RTA, WeGo technically solicit applications for. GNRC is involved in the evaluation process for this grant program. So we're essentially making a modification to this project so that it reflects the grant funding that was awarded through this program the past couple of years. And then finally, we have a request from Thompson Station for their Thompson Station Greenway Multimodal Connectivity Phase 3 project. They recently found out that they were going to need additional construction funds for this project, and the TDOT TAP office was able to provide that funding. So we are adding additional TAP funds for construction to this project as well. If anybody has any questions about these 6 proposed amendments, I'm happy to take those.
The transit center, that's already under construction now, right now, right?
Yes, I do think that they are moving
Shopping
towards that.
center Out there, not far from here.
I think activities have begun.
Any other questions for Hannah?
Motion to approve all 6.
Have a motion, second? Got a second. All right, we have a motion and a second. The item's on the floor. Any further discussions or questions? All right, seeing none, all in favor, say aye. Any opposed? That motion passes. All right, so now we will move on to our second action item here under item 3. That is to endorse the updates to the performance measure targets. For this one, I will turn over to Daniel Caparella, GNRC's transportation planner.
All right, so last month we presented on travel time reliability performance measures. And that was just an informational item, and you heard Max Baker from our research team give you a demo of the GNRC reliability dashboard, which showed different performance measures that showed the system's reliability. And this week we'll be presenting on both those and infrastructure condition measures. Basically, this is a formalized performance-based planning process that the MPO has to carry out, as well as TDOT, to use a data-driven approach to set performance measures, performance measure targets for reliability and bridge pavement condition, as well as safety. So the idea of performance targets is, we've already presented on these, so I'll just read out those 3 travel time reliability measures. So it's the percent of person miles traveled on the interstate system that are reliable, percent of the person miles traveled on the non-interstate system that are reliable, as well as freight truck travel time reliability. These are just 3 maps showing each of those measures statewide, as well as on the right are specific regional data. And then this is just a table of the baseline for all three of those targets, as well as the 2-year and 4-year targets that you will be recommending for adoption today. As for infrastructure condition, MPOs are required to set or adopt state targets for infrastructure condition. That includes 4 targets for pavement condition and 2 for bridge condition. So interstate pavement in good condition, interstate pavement in poor condition, non-interstate pavement in good condition, and non-interstate pavement in poor condition, as well as national highway system bridges in good condition and in poor condition. Statewide map of pavement condition. The pavement in poor condition is in red, and in fair condition is in yellow. As you can see more near the inner loop for our region. There it is. This is a zoom in for our region. So you can see the inner loop has most of the poor pavement condition, as well as some of the state arterials in Davidson County, as well as the surrounding counties. This is a statewide map of bridge condition. The bridges in critical condition are in blue, and the bridges in poor condition are in red. And then this is our region, just to zoom in. There's 2 bridges in critical condition. I believe those bridges are I-840 and Davis Hollow Road in Williamson County, and Old Sewell Mill Pike over Duck River in Murray County. But as you can see, there are a lot of bridges in poor condition as well across the region. And then this is a table of all of the performance measures that are related to infrastructure condition. Again, the baseline is on the left, followed by the 2-year and 4-year targets. As you can see, the targets for good interstate pavement and bridges are projected to get a little worse than the baseline, as well as for poor to get a little bit better. So the recommendation would be to endorse updates to the state targets for both for all of these measures, as well as the reliability measures. And happy to take any questions if anybody has any.
You said that the non-highway system bridges in good condition is getting a little bit worse. That's actually getting a little bit better, isn't it?
Yeah, the pavement would be getting a little bit worse.
Okay. It's getting a little worse in good condition.
Better.
I'm concerned, what was the baseline year that was established for these performance?
Baseline year, I believe, was, these are 4-year targets, so I believe was 2020.
And with the Improve Act, that was, I think that was like 2018, somewhere in that time frame. A lot of the funds for the Improve Act were for bridge replacement, and maybe not so much on the NHS, but certainly statewide. And I was wondering if these target years, given that act, as well as the most recent act that was just approved by the legislature, I don't even know if it's been signed by the governor, will that be a basis for us to reconsider some of these, particularly as it relates to performance measures for infrastructure? Maybe not so much, and maybe system performance as well. Should we reconsider that? I mean, that's a big jump in just a 4-year time frame to consider that our interstate system paving quality, let's call it that, is going to deteriorate by 12 plus over 12%, given the additional funds. Now, I guess a lot of those additional funds are for capacity improvements, new facilities, but certainly it should be reflected also in combination with the Improve Act funds that maybe we should instead of going, expecting a deterioration, we should maybe expect an improvement. So, I wonder if that has been considered or needs to be considered as we adopt these targets. It really looked like that map there was pretty shocking that West Tennessee is such a bad shape
Yeah, Region 4 is definitely in bad shape.
compared to what we have here in Middle Tennessee, but
Their traffic counts are considerably less than ours, though, are they not? Across most of those rural areas where they were showing the red.
That's true.
so I was just I don't know if y'all can look into that, if we can up our game, considering the investments that have been made by the taxpayers here in the last, for those two bills at least.
I guess
How
my
that affects the NHS, right, in particular.
My question to that, I guess you may have mentioned it, Daniel, but the 58%, is that TDOT's number?
Yeah, so all of these targets are state targets, so they're representing statewide data.
That's what I was thinking.
We're just endorsing what TDOT has provided.
It's not like the safety measures where we set our own targets. These are statewide targets, mostly for infrastructure condition, just because we don't control as a region. We don't have sub-allocated funds specifically to spend on those bridges. They're mostly controlled by TDOT.
So this isn't Middle Tennessee. This is statewide, right? Okay.
So on the interstate pavement, is that 70.8 like an industry standard baseline?
No, that's just the existing conditions based on that year.
Okay, and so our 2-year target is that it's going to get 12% worse?
That is what the state has set at as their target.
Understanding that, I would make a motion to endorse the updates of the state targets for the infrastructure condition and reliability. Since it's really just something, it's interesting, but really it's not anything of any great significance that we can really alter. So I'd make that motion.
My father's feeling.
Yeah.
So we have a motion. Do we have a second?
Last week.
We have a motion and a second. Item is on the floor. Any further discussion? Daniel, did you have anything else to add on it? Okay.
Did they give any information on, I see what Bill sees on there, but is there a reason for the decrease in good pavement condition? Is there any information out there about why that?
Yeah, I don't think we have a narrative, and nobody from TDOT is here today to answer that. So.
It seems.
But we can contact staff at TDOT and see if we can get an answer on that question.
So what's the remaining percentages that aren't indicated on this chart? Is it okay condition or excellent condition, or?
Those are not included as performance measures. We just have to track good and poor.
Conversely to the good, I mean, we're increasing the target for poor interstate pavement by 5 times. Well, I say we are. So every mile of travel, you would expect 52.8 feet of poor pavement on the interstate.
Are these performance measures tied to funding like the safety performance measures?
Not in the same way.
Motion and a second. If there's no other discussion, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Nay.
Got one opposed. Motion passes. Right. That's got us on our action items today. Next, we move on to our informational item portion of the agenda today. That's the presentation of the draft transportation planning work program. I'm going to be staying with Daniel for this item.
All right, so you may remember, since we present on this almost every month as we're going through the update, but the transportation planning work program for the region is updated annually to provide you all, as well as the public, with a good idea of how us as a region are using our federal transportation planning funds for activities being carried out by GNRC, by local governments, transit agencies, as well as TDOT. The document identifies all federally funded regional transportation planning activities that will be carried out by all of those different entities. And today we're going to present you with a draft transportation planning work program which is scheduled to be adopted by the TPB in July. So you can go to our website at gnrc.org/UPWP to actually go through this document. But just as an overview, it contains the federal planning factors as well as regional planning topics and issues, some of the work program highlights, the actual activities and tasks that we'll be carrying out, as well as what you all will be carrying out throughout this 2-year work program, as well as some of the research and analytics and data analysis that staff will be carrying out throughout this work program. These are some of the main planning topics and issues that the work program will be seeking to address. So as you all know, we have a safety issue in the region. So looking to address the rise in serious injuries and fatalities across bicyclists and pedestrians, as well as all modes. Worsening traffic congestion, addressing some of the limited funding and financing options that are available to actually accomplish transportation projects, as well as the affordability and housing choice, looking at the link between housing and transportation. Some of the recent accomplishments since the last update of the UPWP, we've created a number of data dashboards, applications, and tools, some of which we've demoed at this meeting, some of which I'm sure you all use on a daily basis. We formed a project delivery task force to address some of the project development and project delivery issues that project proponents are facing. We completed a successful federal certification review for the MPO, and we adopted the fiscal years 2023 to 2026 TIP. These are some of the upcoming priorities. We're hoping to form a regional safety task force that will hopefully be made up of planners, engineers, law enforcement, advocates to figure out how to address the rise in fatalities and serious injuries across the region. We're hoping to expand housing data into investment decisions, as I said earlier, linking housing and transportation. We'll be conducting a regional growth management study to explore some of the tools available to generate local revenue and respond to growth. And we'll be figuring out how to leverage regional, state, and federal funding with all the new discretionary grant opportunities and increased funding from the IIJA. We think it's a good time to figure out how to best leverage those opportunities. This is just a breakdown of the federal planning funds that we get as a region. It's a 80-5-15 split between federal, state, and local. Those 2 grant sources are the Consolidated Federal Planning Grant, or CPG, as well as the FHWA State Planning and Research Grant. There's about $5.78 million total dollars of planning funding, and so the UPWP document goes through how we're going to be using all of that funding over the 2 years. And then just as a reminder, this is the adoption schedule. We've been working on it since January, and throughout that time have developed the document, and then we'll be adopting it in July with the TPP. So, recommendation is just to this is just an informational item.
Yeah.
You won't be adopting it until July. I'll be happy to take any questions. Yes, it's posted on our website.
Is it, I was looking for it a couple of days ago, so there's in, or is it?
Probably.
Okay, that's it. Thank you. That's good. Good to know.
Maybe this is included in one of the upcoming priorities that you mentioned is I know there was discussion of developing some model land development regs for the region. And I wonder if that's going to be included as part of the regional growth management study.
I'm not sure if I'm the best person to answer that
Best
question.
practices type of thing.
Could you say that one more time? I'm sorry.
We had, excuse me, we'd had some discussion previously, I think even with the last UPWP about developing some model land development regulations that would accommodate, better mixed use developments and things of that sort. Is that going to be part of the regional growth management study? That's one of the upcoming priorities.
I'm not 100% sure that it will be, but it's potentially something that we might be able to explore as we move forward. Like when we talked about like regulations around 109 and things like that in the past. Is that what you're referring to?
Maybe not just any particular corridor or
Yeah.
area, but just for the whole region itself. That, as I understood it, it would be something that local governments could then take those, whatever was developed, and kind of try to plug it into their own community in the appropriate locations. So that we wouldn't have to do all the research, I guess, for ourselves,
Sure.
but it was tied to more efficient transportation network.
We'll keep that. Yeah, we'll keep that in mind and continue that conversation as we kind of flesh out the study some more.
And I don't know if Bill's talking about the same thing I'm about to talk about or not. Maybe. We at one time had talked about a Northeast Corridor traffic shed type study that would come in the end with recommendations that local communities might implement to help, both in terms of giving us data at the local level about traffic flows and things of that nature in relation to new development coming on. And I haven't really seen, that's been discussed for the past couple of years in the UPWP. I just haven't seen any project come out of the ground on that or anything. It was initially envisioned as a Northeast Corridor study that included Sumner County, Wilson County, and parts of Robertson, I think.
One done years ago, yeah. One that was done many years ago, probably 8 or 10 years ago.
I'll make a note to bring that up with staff and follow up.
Okay, this is a informational item. Was there any other questions or discussions for this item for staff? Okay. Motoring right along. Did you have any, are you ready?
Yeah, I think our slides are a bit out of order. Flip ahead a couple of slides maybe, so we stick with the order on our agenda. One more, maybe, Daniel. All right, so we'll start with the FHWA's report since that's listed first. FHWA is also at the TDOT MPO conference where Sean and our TDOT colleagues are today. But they did want to let you know about the Safe Streets for All grant opportunity that's available now. Application deadline is July 10th. As usual, we will circulate an email by the end of the week that has the associated information and links for anybody that's interested in following up on that opportunity.
Yeah.
Right, and then TDOT wanted to make sure that everyone was aware that their multimodal access grant application opportunity opened last week. The notice of intent is due by May 16th and a full application due by July 18th. I know that they're running with a fairly lean staff in that office right now. Lasagna Osai is the contact currently for this grant opportunity. We'll include that in our meeting update or meeting recap rather as well. And then I believe at our last meeting together, Jonathan Russell was here to speak briefly on their transportation planning grant opportunity. I know that he had mentioned that that application cycle would open fairly soon and that they're going to switch to more of a rolling application cycle rather than a once a year type of grant cycle. I do believe that that is still the plan, but I know that they're looking at maybe revamping the grant a little bit. So they may be taking a short pause before they officially open applications for this grant. Yeah, and then we'll go back to the chair's report. So maybe flip back again. I'm going to jump ahead of Andy just a little bit before he opens the chair report item, just to provide a little context. If everyone isn't aware, this will be Andy's last meeting as chair of the TCC as he is departing his role at Mount Juliet. I'm going to let you provide the details before.
Yeah, thanks, Anna. Yeah, so this is kind of a bittersweet time for me. Prior to coming to the city, I've been at the city now for 9 years. I've been with this body for that same amount of time. And so it's been one of those things, I think ever since college, I've had this desire of really wanting to work with local governments. And I got to do that even before I came to the city through local programs at TDOT, where I got to meet a lot of y'all. And so opportunity came up to go back to TDOT. Not something I took lightly, but going to the traffic design division. So going to be in that role there. And so while this is a bittersweet time, it's been a great time working with you all. My hope is that and we talk about the safety things, we talk about the other types of things that we can really start to make some hay in some of those areas. I want to try to, have some good collaboration between the local governments and the state. That's one of the things that was mentioned is my experience at the local level and how that can really start to bridge the gap between TDOT and the local governments. My heart is still there with the local governments. Ultimately, it's a heart to want to serve, and that it's a joy and a pleasure of mine. I don't feel like I've ever had to go to a job any day. It's been something I've enjoyed doing, and Lord willing, it's going to continue on in that way. But it's been, even an honor. Who am I to be up here chairing a meeting? I don't feel like I'm really anybody special, but y'all are. We're all in this, doing all this together as we go about our jobs. We deal with the same pressures day in, day out, and it's going to be a good time. Matt White, my deputy director, is going to be taking over all of our capital projects. So especially for transportation. So he's going to be our representative here from Mount Juliet. So he's the brains behind the operation. So you'll be in good hands with him there. So again, it's been a fantastic time here, and hopefully I can still make it over here some. So maybe more topic focused, but we'll still keep on with the collaboration.
Great. Well, I'll just say to you on behalf of GNRC, and I'm sure everyone in this body, how much we've all enjoyed working with you, how much we've appreciated your leadership of the TCC, and are really going to miss having you as a colleague that we talk to all the time. And I hope that we'll still have the opportunity to talk to you, although maybe not as much in your new role at TDOT, but we'll find a way to reach out and connect. You'll certainly be missed, and we thank you for your service.
Appreciate it. It's been an honor. It really has. All right. I guess we, with that, I joked about being fired, so here I am. I'm getting fired. And so we've got a nominating committee that we've got to appoint our chair and deputy chair. I think we've got Josh. I think you're up, buddy.
I will be benevolent.
So, but we still we'll have to bring up and refill the roles there. So, Bill, Tom, Doug, y'all are get somebody else up. So, I think that'll be, do I have to set just an official appointment? Nothing to vote on there. So you're it.
So we'll have a committee working to appoint our new vice chair, and Josh will assume the leadership role at TCC. So.
All right. That's all I've got. It's been a pleasure.
Just disappear into the machine over there. Come back here every once in a while.
I know. Supposedly, I guess I'm gonna eventually be in the Tennessee Tower. I don't know. See what happens there.
And Andy, you really have done a very good job, as chair, just being somebody that's on the set here at the table and vote for different things. I really like, the way some of these things can be very confusing because all of us don't deal with all the minutia of everything, but you've done a very good job as chairman of kind of pulling those things out where I think we all, at different levels of understanding can understand what it is we're talking about. So I appreciate that.
Good. Thank you. Okay. Well, I guess hand it back to Anna for the staff report for today.
We'll keep it moving right along. Just wanted to call everyone's attention to the agenda item 5 in your meeting packet. Staff has worked to compile a new monthly report that we hope to keep updated and present to you at these meetings each month. There's various items that are contained in this report that we hope will be helpful to you in your jurisdictions. Something you can take back with you and kind of keep as a running reference from month to month. We'll just go over really quick the items that are going to be contained in this monthly report. The first of those being TIP obligation tracking. You'll be able to see both the funding pots for the state-sponsored program. That's everything from the NHPP listing down to the state TAP funding listing. And then down there in the bottom in the orange, you can see our MPO suballocated funding. That's the funding, of course, which our MPO has direct discretion over. I know that our obligations to date for fiscal year 2023 aren't looking so great in this chart as we've got it here in your meeting packet, although I'm happy to report that we received notice of nearly $2 million worth of suballocated obligations just yesterday. So it's a little better than it appears here in this table. Thank goodness. We've also got a table that is outlining some project milestones for active projects in the region. You can see there in that action column the types of things that we're reporting on here. It'll basically show you which projects are active and moving from phase to phase. It's mostly a listing of recent notice to proceeds that projects have received. And then following that, we have a table that is highlighting transportation projects under construction or recently completed. You can see we have a handful of recently completed projects listed here, followed by some projects that are currently under construction. These are both TDOT and locally led projects. So we hope this will just be kind of a fun and interesting report on the things that are actually getting done in the region. Following that, we have some data related reporting on safety, performance measures for fatalities, injuries, non-motorized fatalities and serious injuries. We have reporting on system reliability. This is roadway performance tracking for our access controlled facilities. So interstates and larger highways in the region, how those are performing. We have some reporting on transit ridership. And then we have a table that will list currently available grant opportunities, how much funding is available, when the application's due, and also a link that will take you to more information on those grant programs. So we hope that this will be a helpful resource to you if you think of something maybe that you might like to see added to this monthly report. I think we'd be happy to consider that. Just let us know. I will point out to you that there are links below most of these items that will take you to interactive databases and live information sources for a lot of these items that we keep available for you. I think the one last thing I wanted to mention is we heard this morning that TDOT has made the current 3-year work program, which was recently approved by the legislature, available on their website. I don't have a link for that for you immediately, but we will include that in our recap email by the end of the week. So these are all the projects that are part of the state program that the legislature has approved funding for the next fiscal year. I know you might be interested to see what projects in your region were approved in that program. If anybody has any questions, I'm happy to take those.
I have a question, that's just a suggestion, under the safety performance measures. If y'all could report, break that out into pedestrian and bike fatalities and injuries, I think that'd be helpful.
Break the non-motorized out into separate bike and
Yeah.
pedestrian. It's the team.
Rates. These projects that are all these are like Mac Hatcher, that was a Franklin EDOC project, right? Went through Metro.
Very typo in there.
Clarksville Pike is, I guess, still under construction, just down the road here. No, I know you can put all of them, because some of them are quite small.
Keep adding to it.
Yeah.
Not in there.
Kudos on the report. This is really good one-stop shop, especially for us to hand out to our elected officials. So, although I'm sure y'all experience this too, you send out something like this and it just brings more questions and work after the fact. I can say that now.
Is there a target that we should be striving for the obligation rate for each of these funding sources? Some of them are quite low. Should we try to get 50%?
You know, we as an MPO really don't have control over any of the funding sources other than our suballocated. So our suballocated STBG, our suballocated TAP. You know, we've been talking for years now about how our obligation rate is low in general, and we have a high balance of unobligated funds, one of the highest in the nation. We've also talked about how there's a lot of reasons for that. We certainly want to keep projects moving and get those obligations up if we can, and through the work of our project delivery task force, and also just keeping the pulse on all of your projects and how we can help keep things moving along is just how we're working toward increasing that obligation rate.
It's about 2.7% with yesterday's obligations, not 0.003. So it looks a little better.
This fiscal year, right?
Yeah,
Yes,
just
so
the
that's-
first 2 quarters of
That's
it.
October.
Safety obligation looks good.
About that anyone down in Livingston County or Franklin, do you mind updating under the transportation projects recently completed, the Mac Hatcher Parkway extension?
Absolutely. That was definitely just a typo. We apologize. Yeah. Already made a scribble, so.
Any other questions, comments?
The day we have free parking, we don't.
No.
I want to say that as the incoming chairman, I support this location whenever we can.
Second that one.
Actually, I'd like to hear that. Thanks for letting us know. Yeah.
Like, it's
A
very.
lot easier than elaborate.
It's easier to get to.
That's what it's killing us. Yeah.
Smaller RAM, less monitors, but free parking. Yeah.
Trade-off.
Monitors are great.
It's good. Okay. Any other business you have?
all we have. I'll let you do your final adjournment.
So, we've closed out, let's see, item 5 for our agenda today. So last is other business. Before we adjourn, does anybody else have any additional business to come before the body? All right, seeing none, do we have a motion to adjourn? I heard several. Let's go.
Well, I mean, I'm not embarrassed, but I mean, I was just so stunned that you started the meeting. Never happened, never. I was so stunned. I wasn't in the room.
On the tables.
Sorted that out. Fired.
There you go, he's gone now.
That's what happens when you start meeting without me. I'm fired.
Favoring it over another round that you have to go. 31 to 25, I guess.
I'm looking at some room where I develop my situations right are my career. So if it ever happens,
Well, so
more than planning and
I think that'll focus on
my businesses with my background in business administration.
state intersection.
So I will say,
The other Red River. That number 2. That because
growing up with the city in June.
Trying to text me, but I can't believe I got you.